Jesus had a mother, Mary. He had an earthly father, Joseph. And we know in the Gospels, we're told that Jesus also had brothers and sisters. And so Jesus knew what it was like to grow up with brothers and sisters. Jesus had an earthly family, for sure. And we could talk about them in and of themselves. But there was an occasion in Luke chapter 8 that we're going to look at today. In Luke chapter 8 and in verse 19, that is Jesus had been traveling and teaching and performing miracles and signs, and great crowds were coming to him. And we find out that one day, some of Jesus' family came looking for him to talk to him and could not get to him. We see that in Luke chapter 8, verse 19, that we're told Jesus' mother and his brothers came to him and tried to. They could not approach Jesus because of the crowd, because there were so many people. Picture that in your mind, that there's Jesus and he's teaching, speaking, doing all the things that he's doing, and all these crowds. If you've ever tried to get through a crowd of people, that's tough. When there is just people that are close together and a bunch of them, and you're trying to say excuse me, and you're trying to squeeze through, and you really don't want to be squeezing through people and pushing people and stepping on toes. And Jesus' mother and his brothers, they're wanting to see Jesus, but they can't get to him because there's so many people. And then somebody, kind of imagine this, maybe Jesus was speaking and somebody interrupts him, maybe, or maybe there's kind of a lull in the discourse, and somebody says to him, it was told to him by some, your mother and your brothers are standing outside desiring to see you. Okay, so they're just letting Jesus know, hey, your family's here. Your mother, your brothers, they want to talk to you. They want to see you. And, sure, we would understand that. I would want to see, my mother, and I don't know about my brother, but no. But family trying to get to Jesus. Well, Jesus uses this occasion, this opportunity, to make a point and really to teach a lesson. It says in verse 21 that Jesus answered and said to them, my mother and my brothers are these who hear the word of God and do it. So if you can see Jesus there, he's just been told your mother and brothers are here. They're waiting to speak with you. And Jesus, of course, all the people around him, he says, well, my mother, my brothers, my family are really those who hear what I'm saying, as Jesus said, those who hear the word of God that Jesus was preaching, and then do it, then live it. Jesus is saying, that's my family, my true family, are those who are of the family of God, of those who are hearing the word of God, but not just hearing it, those who are actually doing it, those who are obeying God and keeping his word. Jesus was not in any way trying to neglect, ignore, say he didn't care about his earthly family, but he was trying to make a spiritual point about the greater family, the family of God, the spiritual family. And today, we have to ask ourselves when we read this, and if Jesus were here and he's saying to us, and through this text, that Jesus says his true family are those who hear the word of God and do it. Am I part of his family? Does Jesus consider me part of his family? Because I am hearing the word of God, but then doing it, applying it to my life, obeying God, living for the Lord. That's something we all have to ask ourselves. And to make sure we're doing that on a daily basis. living our lives for the Lord, giving our hearts to God, so that we can be part of the eternal family of God and one day be with Him in heaven. Well, let's think on these things. Let's work on these things and to continue to grow in faith. Continue to listen to the Word of God. Continue to apply it to our lives. And one day we can look forward to that great family reunion in heaven. God bless.